I was up at 1 o'clock this morning. I thought I should just spend some time in reflection about what was going to happen today and what I was going to share. And for those of you who know me, 1 o'clock in the morning is not unreasonable. If you receive a text from me at 1 o'clock in the morning, that is normal. And I would encourage you to put your phone in sleep zone if you don't want to receive a text from me. So it's now 1:30. I've spent about half an hour reflecting, reading, thinking about it. And I get a phone call from my son, my youngest son, who is in Colorado and doesn't understand time zones either. But the call is fantastic. It's fantastic because he's sitting, it's on speakerphone, and he's sitting next to his girlfriend who I've not met. I thought, this is good. And so he introduced me to her. Her name is Grace, and we talked for about half an hour. I asked her 153 questions. She answered them all appropriately, and so I was very inspired, very inspired. Grace is really important. The book of Ephesians needs a lot of grace because it's very challenging. We receive grace from God, but we also need to give grace to each other all the time. The more grace we give, the more room we give, the more we can actually make the changes that God calls us to. So I ask you for a little bit of grace today as we continue this journey through the book of Ephesians. My mother was from Mauritius, a little French-speaking island in the Indian Ocean, and my father was from Brazil, a Portuguese country that runs all of South America. No. But Portuguese is beautiful. They met in London at Holloway Adventist Church in the late 60s, and then they moved out to Greater London, and I was born in Brazil. In fact, actually, I was born in Southeast London. This is them on the Copacabana beach, and that's my mum pregnant with me in Rio de Janeiro. She's so beautiful. I am very, thank you. The affirmation is good. I miss them a lot. I'm taking the boys. They've not been COVID and everything. I've not taken them to the graveside, so we're going there in March. I miss them a lot. They were phenomenal people. So they moved to Greater London, and I was born in Erith, that little red dot that you see there. That's Erith. This is the great city of London. It is the center of the universe. If you haven't been there, shame on you. A little bit of grace. It's okay. So I was born in Erith. It was beautiful. I enjoyed it a lot. And my parents, as first-generation immigrants, I had to explain a little bit of the culture to them as time went on because it was important. They understood a way, and I understood a way as well. So when I was a little kid, around 6, 7 years old, it was very popular in the 70s to go to a Ronald McDonald birthday party. This is amazing. Because you actually had a fellow dressed up like Ronald McDonald. It was very, very cool. He had a big nose, and it was very exciting. And my mum, bless her, really wanted to make a good impression. So she decided that this is what I should wear to the Ronald McDonald birthday party. And I explained to her that, what we should wear is I should wear a white T-shirt and some, white stained kind of bell-bottom jeans, and that would be fantastic, Mom. And she said, no, you need to wear the blue velvet suit that you wore to a wedding as a page boy only a few months before. And I said, Mom, come on. She said, no, you'll look really good. And because I'm an obedient boy, I wore the blue velvet suit. I kid you not, I literally stepped out of the front door of my house, saw a Mini Cooper sitting there with 4 of my friends, all with white T-shirts and bell-bottom jeans, and I came out like Elvis Presley to the Ronald McDonald party. Yeah, no, it wasn't. It wasn't good. And, the entire party, I felt like I was the entertainment for them. As a result, I then moved from Erith 2 miles east towards this town here, from Beckenham to Erith. And as you see, it's right next to the Thames River. This was actually the center of business in the 1600s. But in the 1970s, it was not. In fact, if you zoom in and you look at Erith, you can see that there's a sewage plant and other wonderful amenities close by that would take care of all of Greater London. I used to walk to school every morning, and my route was basically that I would go like this. I would take this little route here. I would travel, walk the path, go over a railway bridge, high-speed trains. I would pass the little cemetery and a Baptist church, not look at the cemetery, and then turn right and go into the school. The school was actually run by the Baptist church. It was a phenomenal school. When we as kids would arrive there, they would give us a little bottle of milk. They would have us sing hymns. And because we sang in church, I would sing as a soprano, and it was fantastic, and I loved it so much. However, what made you very popular or made you kind of like, felt like you belonged and accepted at school was football. Not the football that you guys wear, with padding because you're scared of the players. No. This actually involved a ball and a foot. And you ran around on the field. It was pretty amazing. And we played football every single day. But far greater than football was if you had trading cards. Oh, yeah. If you could get Tottenham Hotspurs, the entire team, you basically were the mafia in the school. You owned the entire playground. So trading cards were a really big deal. And I collected them. My friends all collected them. We traded for them. I mean, I would have given up every bottle of milk for the entire term just to have a deck of trading cards that was all mine. I was very excited about this. Now, one day, I was walking home on that same route back from school, and this boy was walking in front of me, and he dropped all his trading cards on the street. And I felt horrified for him. These are sacred. So I bent down, and I started to pick up these cards to give it to him. And as I did this, I suddenly felt this incredible stinging pain on the side of my face as his mother walloped me across the face and smacked me to the ground. I didn't know what to do, so I stood up, a lot of shame, a lot of embarrassment. I didn't understand why she hit me. I dropped the cards, and I walked home as quickly as I could. When I arrived home, my mom saw me, she hugged me, she cried, and she saw all the marks on my face still, and she said it was going to be okay. The next morning, she wanted me to go to school, and I was like, hey, I don't think I need to go to school. I think I should stay home, maybe for another month, and we should work this out a little bit longer. But she insisted, you should go to school, you should go to school. So I got up and got ready, and I was about to leave the house to go to school, to do my route by myself, when my mom grabbed me and said, no, stay here. Tell me, who was it that hit you? And I lived in the street in southeast London, and all the kids with their mums or dads would walk to school, and so I stood there waiting, and eventually I saw the boy and his mum, and I said, it's them. Now, just for the record, as I pointed them out, I don't want to, imply that I was responsible for what happened next, but I just, I'm 7 years old, I'm innocent, I obeyed my mom. She asked me to point out who had slapped me across the face. Someone, I just said, they did. My mom said, just wait here. And so she crossed the street. She went over that side, and my mom was, 5'0", and she decked this woman. I mean, not open, decked this woman cold. And then she said to the woman, did you like that? And she's like, no. She said, don't do that to my son again. Boy, when I went to school that day, I didn't need the deck. It was a night and day difference inside there. Now, I'm not advocating violence, but I must admit that it is pretty amazing when someone steps up for you, right? It's pretty amazing when unexpected, somebody just says, I want to be able to do this for you. And it changed everything. When they defend me, when they reach out and love you, it changed everything. I felt like I belonged in a way that I never belonged before. We were made to love. We were made to have joy. We were made to know each other. We were made to belong in communities all the time. And I think the Apostle Paul understood this so well. It just covers all of his letters, all of his writings. You see, when he went to school, there were two main thoughts of school at that time. There was Shammai and there was Hillel. These were the two rabbinic teachings. Shammai basically said this, look, if you teach somebody the truth and they don't like it, you should just persecute them and torture them until they obey. They just need to be pushed into the corner. Hillel, which is actually Gamaliel's teachings, who Paul was being taught by, said, you teach them the truth. If they don't like it, you let God take care of it. And you let them be. Well, Paul ignored his teacher and went to the other side and said, this is where I want to live, and chose that particular path for his life, and I believe ended up becoming very lonely, very sad, very, very angry, disappointed with himself until he had the road to Damascus experience, until he met Jesus. And when he met Jesus, his worldview changed. And as a result of meeting Jesus, I mean, you've got to understand, from being so violent and angry and absolutely adamant that everybody has to believe exactly like me or they are lost. He's like, no, God is the one who decides. And it changed everything for him. So Paul wanted everybody to know this. I mean, you can see it in all of his letters. In Colossians chapter 1, it says, for by him all things were created. He's describing Jesus. He says, in heaven and on earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or dominions or rulers or authorities, all things were created through him and for him. And he is before all things. And in him all things hold together. The connective tissue, the electrical impulses, the thought ellipses, all of them are inside that Jesus is in all of them. And he holds us ever past, ever present, ever future. So by the time you get to Ephesians chapter 3, you know, he is so excited. He is so excited. He's just like, he's explained the entire gospel. He's explained the mystery. He's like, this is what it means. This is the Gentiles, the people, we're all together. And he's just like, I need you to understand how important it is for us to actually all be together. And he can't find the language to describe this, so he coins a new word in Koine Greek called so-mos. So-mos. It's 4 words in English of the same body, but in Greek it just basically means with and body. So-mos. It was for everyone, the church. The church was for everyone, not just for us, not just for those we know, not for those we like, but it was for everyone. For Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. And what he wanted people to experience was Jesus, full stop, all full stop. This is where Paul was living, and this is where he wrote this entire letter to really challenge them to live in this space, to see that Jesus can work through everyone. And despite us, he works through us as well. I thought long and hard about the fact that there is very few things that you are able to control in your life. I wish there was more that we could control. I wish there was more that we understood, but in truth, there isn't. We have to rest in God in so many areas of our life. 2 years ago, my late wife, Becky, was diagnosed with glioblastoma. It's a fatal form of brain cancer. And, you know, for our boys, she was an absolutely amazing mother. She was phenomenal. She was phenomenal. They loved her deeply, and she loved them deeply. When I asked them if there was anything they really wanted to say to their mom, they said, no, I said all I need to say, and she said all that we need to hear, and we know that we will love her forever, and she will love us forever, and we will see her again. So we had, in those very first few days, some very significant conversations. I must publicly thank Mark Johnson, who's over there, who picked me up at the airport and drove me to the airport. Now, if you don't know Mark Johnson, not only is he a doctor, but he's a rather direct doctor. And that drive, he explained everything that was going to happen. He was about 99% accurate. It was pretty amazing. Hard to hear, but really necessary to hear. And prepared me for the conversations I was about to have with Becky in the room. One of those conversations Becky said to me is that, she said, I need you to live. I always thought I was going to die first. I really did. I imagined I was going to die first. Becky, ran 8 miles a day. She watched all the food that she ate. She was meticulous. She comes from a family where her grandmother was working in a nursing home until she was in her 90s, serving all the other elderly, right? So she comes from a family where, like, when we die, we go out in the woods, and we just die in the woods by ourselves. I'm like, I'm going to die in a bed. I'm going to have lights on. It's going to be beautiful food and music playing. She's like, I'm out in the woods. And that was Becky. So I imagined she was going to live long, like all of her family does, into their late 90s. I never took any insurance out on Becky. I took it all out on myself. I was banking that I would take care of the family because I would go first. But now the unexpected happened, and she said to me in that hospital room, you know, you're going to have to find a way to live. You have to live long. You have to live long. Because you're all that our boys have now, right? So you have to carry whatever we decided we wanted for them for as long as you can. So when she fell asleep in Jesus on June 21 last year, I began some changes, some very deep changes in my life. And you'll see here that this is June 21 over here. And I began completing these circles. And I kept the circles complete June 23, July, August. And then I got to September, and my ankle started to give out. And so it was pretty rough. And I thought, I'm not going to be able to do this much. So I went and found a really good doctor who helped me out. And then after Thanksgiving, I continued. And I've done so all the way through to now. And this is January when I printed this, but it's gone all the way through to today, to this morning. So I'm completing all of these, right? This is my way of saying to her, I'm going to live. I'm going to live. I'm going to take it really seriously at that point. Now, just to add some context to this conversation, when I had this conversation, this is December 2021. In September 2021, I really tore up my ankle pretty badly, and I tried to walk it off, as you do. It did not work. Eventually, with the MRI, they said you need real ankle surgery, so I scheduled it for January 2022. Becky was in hospital. She had the first 2 surgeries on her brain. She had the radiation treatment starting. And I said to her, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to go do this surgery? Do you want me to stay? I don't know. And she and I decided that I would continue, go forward, first week of January, and I would get the surgery done. She was surrounded by family, surrounded by an incredible church, a global church that just loved her, stayed connected to her, protected her, called her, loved her, and she was just in a really good space. So I went and I got the surgery done. Surgery was successful, it was fantastic, and I decided to recover in the Westin Hotel, as you do. Amen. Because the scent from the Westin Hotel with that white tea is just soothing for your soul. So I thought, where should I recover? The Westin Hotel in Westminster on the 15th floor overlooking Westminster. And that's what I did. Now, I had some friends who offered to help me. Patty McCoy, that you've seen here, the pale one. He offered to come out to help me, and Tom Eichmann, where's Tom Eichmann? Right there, Tom. Tom offered to come and help me, and you know, it's great when you have friends like this, and Sam Lenore was going to come as well, but Sam literally heard a few days before that his dad was at the final stages as well, and so he stayed with his dad, and these 2 brothers took care of me for the first 2 weeks. It meant that I now got to know Tom in a very personal way when he took me into the shower. Thank you, brother. No body shame. It was fine. But, you know, it was amazing. They were amazing. I mean, look, you want to be able to have people around you when you're recovering. It was fantastic. So I was there recovering in this hotel, and I remember one particular evening, I just started to feel really, like, faint. And I don't know why I felt faint, and I called Tom. Tom had just finished surgery, and he said, you know, why don't you call 911? And I'll make my way over there as well. I said, good call, Tom. I'll do that. So Tom started to drive from the hospital to come and meet me at the hotel. I called 911, and I was just getting out of breath. I had no idea what was going on. Apparently, I was about to have an SVT. So there I am. I've never had one before in my life. I'm sitting down there, and I hear the ambulance on the phone saying, hey, the firemen arrived. The EMT team is here. They're coming upstairs right now. And I said, yeah, they're at the door, and they're smashing it down. For some reason, nobody gave them the key at the front desk. And so I'm hearing them smash, and I said, could you tell them not to break the door? And she said, can you open the door? I'm like, I don't know if I can get off this chair. So I raise myself, I get on the little scooter, and I go to the door, and I open it. It took all my energy to this. I open the door, and these firemen are there. And they come in, they look at me, and they pick me up like I'm a daffodil. Oh, I have never been picked up like a daffodil. Oh my goodness. I wanted to hold them. I wanted to lay my head on their chest. It was amazing. I was like prancing through the field. I felt so light. It was just like heaven had arrived. And they smelt oily. Here are these firemen, burly, and they carry me, they lay me in the chair, they attach all sorts of machines to me, and they're like speaking, and they're like, I think it's 240 beats a second, I don't think this is good, he's not gonna make it. I didn't hear that. I'm hearing this. Then they cart me off, they put me in the elevator couldn't take the chair, so they literally lift me up now, and they suspended me in the elevator. I'm like, you guys are so strong. I'm just impressed. And they're flexing. As they carry me down, they take me down there, and I arrive at the ambulance, and Tom is right there. And I felt really good. Tom was there. Tom said, hey, I'm going to follow them. I'm right here with you. I said, hey, it's good, brother. It's good. So I get in the ambulance, and I have never been in an ambulance before. I was just like, wow, I've seen Grey's Anatomy. It feels a lot larger there. This feels very, very small and very intimate. And I can still smell the oil on you, Mr. Fireman, and I don't know what the EMT is doing. So the EMT guy is now behind me. I'm lying down in this bed, and he's behind me, and he comes forward, and he says, hey, you know, I'm just going to give you a shot, adenosine. Don't worry. I'm going to stop your heart and then restart it. It's normal. You'll be fine. And meanwhile, I'm thinking, Jesus, you know, I think he said he was going to stop my heart, and I'm not feeling this. I'm not feeling this. Is there another way, Lord? Could you speak to them, give them wisdom, insights, maybe some new science? Maybe they could just carry me, you know, like a daffodil again, and I'll be fine. And I don't know. I started to really worry. And I said to Jesus, look, you can't let me die. Just not now. I will be ready, but not now. You have to keep me alive. I can't die now while Becky's alive in the last days that she has left, and I can't leave the boys. So Jesus, I need you to do something serious right now. And I wanted somebody who I knew to be by my side, to hold my hand, to pray. I just needed the presence of God in my life right there, right at that moment. The EMT is now behind me, and he says, you know, just checking things, that, hey, can you tell me your name? And I said, my name is Japhet. And he said, for the first time in 51 years of my life, oh, Noah's son? I literally felt like pick up my mat and walk. It was a miracle. How did he know? I mean, I have always had to explain to people, yeah, it's Noah's son, Shem, Ham, Japheth, that's me, no, I know. It's all, this guy knew it immediately. I was like, oh, incredible. Yes, brother. I called him brother straight away. Brother, yes, absolutely, Noah's son. He said, hey, that's great. And then I thought, I need to let him know, because if I let him know how serious this is, maybe he'll do a better job. I need to let him know. So I said, hey, come here. So he comes round, and I tell him, listen, my wife's dying. I'm what's left for my boys. You have to keep me alive. And this is what he does. He takes his hand, he puts it on my chest. He says, God is with you. God is with you. God is with you, Japhet. God is with you. And that was it. He gave me the adenosine shot. It was horrible. But then my heart was fine. And he took me to the hospital, and Tom was there and took care of me from that day forward. I hold that God works through all people. That God works through a much larger church than we could ever imagine. That his people are everywhere. And this is what Paul was teaching us in Ephesians 3. When he says Sussoma, he says, everyone belongs to God, and I will work through